This is Dan Easy D. Dorman, 5 Easy Questions. I'm putting this out because I urge any and everyone that experiences this segment coming up to share. Frank Somerville and I are going to talk about his drug and alcohol use, the ramifications and repercussions. These are items that were so open, so honest. I wanted to put this out here beforehand. This will be totally unedited except for one spot, and that is to avoid litigation. I'm going to try and minimize it so that you can get the length and breadth, but just in case, this will be uncensored, unfiltered. Ladies and gentlemen, Frank Somerville. Hey.
Welcome back, sir.
I was getting ready to say the same thing. So, like before, I'm going to do my little spiel, and I'm going to take you at your word of I can ask you anything.
You betcha.
All right.
Okay. Can't wait. Bring it on.
All right. Here we go. This is Dan Easy D. Dorman, 5 Easy Questions. This is part 2 of my 5 Easy Questions, although my guest today will say it's way more than 5. It's my story and my show. It's 5.
Yeah, they're all multi-part.
They're all multi-part. And that's the story I'm sticking to. But my guest today, he is a Bay Area legend covering news, a television journalist who, during his 3 decades at KTVU, received 3 Emmy Awards, including one on camera, which didn't know anything, but hey, 3 Emmys is 3 Emmys, man. So, but then one day he disappeared off the air, and we're going to talk about it.
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, Frank Somerville.
Hey, thank you so much. I love this.
Oh, well, I'm
glad. By the way, I should say, because I know where the topic's going, is I've been clean and sober now for 19 months and 1 week. Yeah, I know. 19 months ago, my hand was shaking so bad I couldn't eat food. I needed help. I couldn't walk. I mean, I went to the ER with a 0.4, and it was a place called Duffy's up in Calistoga. Going there for 75 days changed my life to the point where I just never thought I could be this happy, this content. I loved every single thing about sobriety.
Yeah. Man, yeah. Actually, I was on the fence whether or not to explain some of the questions I'm going to ask.
Oh, you don't have to. No.
Oh, no. For the record, because I think of myself as a functioning addict, and it's not necessarily drug of choice, but I have a deteriorating shoulder, and so I take Norco. Back when I first started taking it, I was prescribed 4 a day. Although I didn't really need 4 a day, but hey, 4 a day made me happy. I realized that ain't good. So I was able to cut myself back from 4 to a little less than 1 a day.
Good for you.
But it's still something I have to acknowledge, and because I've been fortunate, I've dodged bullets, everything else. So, but I also wanted you to know that some of these questions are going to be based upon my personal experience, so to speak.
Okay.
So, with that in mind, here comes question 1.
Okay.
You are a recovering addict, and there's no sugarcoating. I believe sugarcoating is the cause of many an addict's deficiencies. At one point, I'm sure you thought you had it handled. under control, mostly because no one said anything to you. You
Mhm.
must be okay. So now here comes my first multi-part question.
All righty.
Is that a fair assessment?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I thought I had everyone fooled, except my family, but my family wouldn't talk about that. When my family, they just look, they when we were out, we all looked like everything was great. But I wasn't able to. I'm I still wonder how many people had questions or not. There must have been some, but one time we were having a discussion in the newsroom, and we were talking about drugs and alcohol, and someone said, "Don't ask Frank; he doesn't know anything." And I remember kind of chuckling, going, "I actually know more than all of you combined." And and so I thought that I could handle it, but the way alcoholics, no, I'm going to speak for myself. The way I handled it was, I'll stop next week. And that was what I always said to myself. I'm never doing it again, ever. And then after 3 days, it creeps back in, and you say, "Oh, okay, I'm just going to do it this weekend," and then that's it. And next week never comes. And what happened to me was, this was during this was after I got divorced, and we sold our beautiful house up in the Oakland Hills, and I was living in a high rise in downtown Oakland, a very nice high rise, but I hated it. But I was drinking vodka morning, noon, and night, and I mean, it was the first thing I'd drink when I got up. And at that point, I was again shaking so bad, and I had no balance. And I woke up one morning and I went, "Oh my God, I don't have any What? I don't have any alcohol." So I Googled what time the liquor store opened. It was just 3 blocks away. And I remember having an out of body experience going, "Look at you. You're Googling when a liquor store opens. You're one of them." And I went. And when I got there, he told me that Google said they open at 7. So I thought, well, I can't get there at 7 because then I'll look like an alcoholic because I'm there going, dude, you're 15 seconds late. Let's go.
Yeah.
Get my alcohol. So instead, I came up with what I thought was the greatest solution ever. I'll go at 7:15. That way, I can walk by and go, "Hey, you guys are open." I did. I had no idea I'm going to a party tonight, and well, heck, since I'm here, I might as well just get my alcohol now. And what happened was on the way back, I sat down at a bus stop. And again, I had another out of body experience because I was looking at myself drinking vodka straight out of a bag at a bus stop on Broadway in downtown Oakland. And the next thing I knew, I passed out. I mean, I passed out right there. And I have no idea how I got to the hospital, but I did. I had a point 0.4. And at that point, my girlfriend said to me, um, if you want to be with me, you'll go to 75 days of rehab. And that's what I did. And that's what started everything. And the more I go, I mean, I'm like a maniac about recovery because I love this feeling. And for me, I get a chance to find out what can I accomplish things that I always used to say I could in my mind, but never actually did. And so one of them is working out, not always looking like the before picture. Plus, I always say if you have a Batman tattoo, you better have a badass shoulder. And you can't go into the tattoo shop with a wimpy shoulder and go, "Hi, I like a Batman tattoo." They're gonna go, "Dude, get out of here, man. Come back after you hit some weights."
Yeah.
But I love that. I'm back to playing hockey. I'm a maniac because I'm 68 and I waited way too long. But now is my chance, and so I'm not going to miss a second of it. I even went skydiving because I'm scared of heights. So I thought, well, okay, if I'm scared of heights, what do? I go skydiving. That was so awesome. God, I love that.
Wait, but this was after your flying with the Blue Angels hanging upside down? You were scared? It's not a question. I'm amazed that you were scared skydiving.
Well, yeah, I've always been scared of heights, and what I do now is when I talk to myself, I don't say, "Yeah, I'm thinking about it," and yeah, I might do that. Yeah, you know what? I am going to do that at some point. Yeah, all of those to me are little bullshit answers that aren't, it's just giving you a way out. So now what I say is I am doing that. So for example, if I'm on the treadmill and I run really hard for 30 minutes after the workout, I say I am doing 30 minutes. And there have been many times where I'm at 15 or 16 minutes, like, God damn, I'm tired. And then I think, yeah, but I made a commitment. I'm doing 30. And same with skydiving. I made the commitment that I was going to do it. And you know what happens as a result of that when you do things like that? For me, I become proud of myself and I respect myself. I don't need that now from other people. That's what I always felt like I needed was affirmation. Yes, I am good. Yes, you know. But now that I'm okay with myself, I don't need it. It's always nice to hear it, but
Right.
I don't need it anymore because I'm okay.
No, and that is the best way to look at it.
Mhm.
The other part of this question, you had mentioned your family knew but didn't really say anything. Outside of your family, was there anyone that tried to sugarcoat what's going on? Hey, Frank, maybe you ought to do this, or da da da. I smell something, but you just didn't listen to him or her.
No, I don't know. I, I mean, early on, my dad and my brother had, or this is before I had my family, but my wife always did. But I would always make excuses, and I don't remember anyone outside of that ever saying anything to me. And I don't know whether it would have mattered anyway. I needed to have consequences. I needed to fall really far, and I fell about as far as you can go, and I passed out on Broadway. And I wish I could say, yeah, I asked for help, or yeah, I went there on my own. I didn't. I had to fall really hard. And one of the things when I was at Channel 2, I knew I had a problem at Channel 2, but main anchors don't ask for help. That was my thought. Just like firefighters, just like police officers, just like Army vets, they don't ask for help because they'll be seen as weak. And and I just I'm so glad I don't think like that anymore because I'm one of the strongest people I know now, um, and and that's what to me recovery is all about. I also have a sign in my on my wall, actually two motivational signs. I could never have motivational signs before because I knew I wouldn't do them. So now I follow them. The first sign is in my bedroom, and it says, do it sad, do it tired, do it weak, do it anyway. Every time I don't want to go to the gym, I go read that sign and I go, God damn it, I guess I'm going to the gym. I mean, I can't walk away from that and go, nope, forget it. But the other one I think is even more important. It says dreams die in comfort zones. And I know that all my dreams died in my, except working at Channel 2, all my dreams died so that I could stay in my itty bitty teeny weeny comfort zone. So now I do everything I can to get out of my comfort zone. So that included going parachuting. It meant facing my fears, doing things that make me feel uncomfortable because that's life. That's what life is pushing yourself. And I'm no longer scared of failure. That was one of the things before. I was so scared I'd fail. And now I go, I care less whether I fail or not. It's about whether I try. And so the thing I'm trying right now is to get back into hockey. But I've always been worried on a team that I'll screw up at it. You know, I'm one of those goes, no, no, don't give me the puck. I'll mess it up. And this time I'm going to go into it going, yeah, Pat, why aren't you passing to me? And if I mess it up, you know, so what? It's as long as I'm trying and having fun while trying. And so that's and the more I do that, God, the more I want to do that. I now incredibly like to feel. I mean, I spent so much money so I didn't have to feel. And now I love feeling. It's just it everything about this is awesome. I'm like a totally different person.
Yeah, man, it sounds like it. Now, question two, and before I go on, I'll give you a bit of context. I gave you a bit at the beginning, but I come from a generational group of alcoholics. I can trace alcoholism back to my grandma and seeing her face down on the floor. I actually have a picture. It was Halloween, and she's face down on the floor. I think I was, I don't know, like 6 or 7. And on my father's side, drank like a fish. So my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, my honestly, except for my half brothers and sisters, all. Um, and on top of that, and maybe because of that, I have an extremely high tolerance for alcohol.
Mm.
Um, there was one night where I was in Union City. Um, I had 15 shots of Jaeger. I was able to drive home to Pittsburgh at the time.
Wow.
I had a cop follow me, and but I still made it home. Now I don't say that as proud. I say that as I know I can handle a lot. Actually, what worries me is my son inherited that gene.
Mm.
He can handle a lot and get scared. But um, I wanted to say that before I got into the question.
Mhm.
Um, when did you notice? A two-part question. When did you notice you could handle your liquor? And when did you discover you couldn't? That old, when people say, I have one too many,
Mhm.
you know, uh, you never know when you had enough. That's why it's always you didn't have enough or you had one too many. So when did you discover you couldn't handle the one too many?
Well, when I started to feel the physical effects of it, and by that what I mean is I was shaking so bad that it was embarrassing, and I literally had no balance. I had to. I mean, I looked horrible. When I went to the musical, I looked horrible. Now I always knew I had a problem, but I never thought I could do it. I mean, I just didn't. I couldn't imagine my life without alcohol. I haven't done coke in 25 years, so and I never relapsed on that one. But I could never imagine myself without alcohol. And now I look at it and I think, I can't imagine myself with alcohol because I no longer look at alcohol as a solution. And that was really important for me is alcoholics, but again, I'll speak for me, can come up with any reason in the world to drink. I had a bad day. I got to calm down. I had a great day. I'm too amped up. I got to calm down. We come up with it's sunny. Yeah, it's raining shit. I feel, doesn't matter. And and I finally, when I faced the consequences, when I just, I mean, I was again drinking up to 2 quarts of vodka a day. That's a lot of vodka. And my apartment was a mess. It looked like frat rats lived there. I know it was that kind of dirty, messy, and um, and then passing out at that point. I I I wanted to stay with my girlfriend, and 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 I didn't fight when she said you're going somewhere because I knew when I look back, I was so tired of being tired, so tired of the chaos because chaos was just a part of my life. I knew chaos, but yeah, it all changed when I passed out and started going to Duffy's. It changed my life.
Well, now question 3, which is, well, when I asked the question, I think I might be able to explain it better. Now, I don't know if you're a friend of Bill. Uh, I know that for me, because I once was a DJ, so I did a lot of NA parties, AA parties, what have you. But I look at AA and NA like I look at religion, meaning it doesn't matter the faith. What matters is that whatever you subscribe to makes you a better person. So but one of the things that I discovered with AA, NA, and religion, especially those who are born again, want to superimpose, like, hey, I know this, I did this, I'm right. da 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 da. I discovered Jesus, and you need to discover Jesus. Uh, are you that type of person?
No, I don't believe in God, and I never have. And I guess I'm open to it now, but I didn't even understand. I do understand the concept of a higher power, and the way I describe a higher power is that I mean I don't believe there's anything out there, but it's Bruce Lee has a quote where he says, "If you have a single matchstick, you can snap it. Um, when you tie a bunch of matches together, now they have power, right?" So I am a friend of Bill, and I go to meetings. I go to at least one meeting a day, and I actually love them. I mean, I just love them, and I'm not a meeting guy, but I can't really explain it. My day just it doesn't feel right if I don't start off with a meeting, and I just change the word God to I just eliminate the word God. And I don't use that as an excuse, which I did before, where oh, there's just a bunch of God squatters. They just want to convert me, and it's not that way. It really isn't. And that's why I like to say, look, I'm in AA. I don't believe in God, and it's fine. They've helped me so much with a path, and all I don't. What I tell people is the steps worked for me if you want to try them. But there are other things you can go to as well, other meetings where they're not religious. And I mean, just try whatever and see what works, see what sticks, and then stick with that.
Okay. What I was referring to, I know I went on the religious bent, but I'm referring to when you realize you needed to go to NAAA.
Oh,
There's that not you, but there's that propensity, like a born again, where it's hey, I've discovered the light. That light is no more alcohol, no more drugs. You need to follow the light. That type of are you
oh, no, no,
that?
no. God, I don't do that at all. I remember. I think I'm understanding your question. I don't tell people anything. I only talk in I statements, and I say I do this. This has worked for me, and I'm not a Bible thumper. I'm not. It's very easy. When I first became a vegetarian and when I first found out about animal experimentation, I was so angry about people who didn't care about animals or didn't care about animal experimentation. I was so angry, and I just wanted to tell everyone. And my dad said, "You know what? You sound like a zealot. You're going to turn people off if you do that." So I don't do that. What I do is AA says we should be anonymous. I I'm anonymous. No, I'm not even anonymous in the meetings. I don't want to be anonymous. And so when I'm out, I think it's very important that I not be anonymous, so that I don't want to carry any more secrets. Jesus, I had a secret my whole life. Now my thought is if someone looks at me like I have a scarlet letter on, excuse the language, but fuck them. I don't care. That's your problem, not mine, because I know me. And I also think it's important to go out there when people are in the public eye to come out and say, this is what an alcoholic also looks like. Looks just like this. And because we always have that stereotype of it's the guy in the gutter and he's going nowhere, that kind of thing. And so I like to say, I want people to know that I am one of them. But I do have to say, when the first time someone came up to me and said, "Are you a friend of Bill?" And I went, "What? Who's Bill?" I, I, oh, that Bill. Now I got it. Yes, I am. But I'd never heard that phrase before.
Okay. Well, I'm still trying to get my mind around you and anonymous. If you were in Kansas, okay. But if
Yeah,
you were going to some place in the Bay Area, come on now. What? You're going to wear sunglasses and a fake beard and no one's going to know
right.
who you are?
I just go, this is me. You can accept me or not, but as long as I'm good with myself and my moral compass is back. And I love this quote from Matthew Perry before he died in his book he wrote. I've done a lot of bad things, but I'm not a bad person. And I think that describes 99% of the people who are in AA or any kind of other recovery. Yeah, we have all done a lot of bad stuff, but inside we're not bad people. We just got corrupted by drugs or alcohol, and then got used to that. And it, I mean, when I look back and think about some of the things, it's just how mean I was to my kids, and how everything was all about me, and it all depended. My daughter used to. My ex-wife told me that my daughter wouldn't even come out of her room till she knew what kind of a mood I was in. I mean, that breaks my heart on every level, that I was so stupid that I couldn't see that. I just couldn't. All I thought about was my best friend, and that was alcohol and coke. And I missed out. So again, that goes back to why I'm a maniac now. Plus, I also know that 6 people have died in the last 19 months who I was in recovery with. And um, I don't, my body recovered perfectly. I mean, I am in perfect health. But my cousin, who didn't outdrink me, he died at 62 because his doctor told him he had cirrhosis of the liver, and if he drank again, he'd die. And the doctor was right. And so it's really, it's really weird when I was talking to someone about all the deaths, and they said, "Get used to it." And then another guy said, "Keep your shoes shined." And I mean, that to me is the seriousness of it. I don't think about the good times at all. I think about what a mess I was, and how horrible I was, and how horrible I felt. And that keeps me on the straight. I don't ever want to go back to that.
Question 4, and this is the one that you were probably anticipating me to ask this as the first question, and it's not. It's the fourth, but I know it's what the audience is dying to hear. Multi-part question. What happened the day you were fired, and what were, if any, were what were any events prior to the firing that occurred?
Well, I had gone into rehab prior. I finally admitted one weekend when I was trying to detox myself. Uh, I had to admit that I had a problem, and I remember I called the news director and I said I have a problem, and she was great about it. She said that she had friends who struggled with addiction, and they sent me to a rehab place uh, down in Southern California. It was horrible. I stayed there for a month, and afterward, I was drinking within 5 days. And I think that the station was looking for a way out. On a certain level, I don't blame them. I was at that point, I was starting to get erratic. I was, I was, I was really getting bad, and taking a lot of prescription medication and then mixing it with alcohol. So I can't blame them for not wanting me back. But the way they did it was very disappointing because I was right. I mean, they were completely wrong. They have no news judgment, and and I took offense to that. But I have to say, I brought this on myself. I don't have anybody to blame except me.
Yeah, I'm sure you noticed the moment you mentioned um, the ratio of, you know, black women and girls
Hmm?
disappearing. You, I, because I knew what the punchline was going to be the moment you said that, uh, and I can't see that as erratic. And I believe you said you were in rehab at the time.
No, no, I had gone through rehab. I was
Ah,
coming out of rehab, and I was on so much medication, so much gabapentin, I could barely keep my head up. The director would keep saying, "Frank, lift your head up." So I was not in good shape. But I was right about wanting to put that tag. I
right.
was just I was right. And the station was wrong. But I don't blame them for not wanting to re-sign me.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I forget which one of those in the friend of Bill uh, statements is the forgiveness part, but boy, you're being awfully forgiving. But hey, uh, you are forgiving. Okay, you're a better man than I, because yeah. But now the last question, because you've been open and honest about your trials and tribulations,
Mhm.
have you ever thought about doing a daily podcast? And I
Yeah.
asked that. Oh, go ahead.
No, everyone says that, and at some point, I'm going to do that. I am going to do that. Um, I just have to figure out how to do it, and I would like to work with a producer. What I'm doing right now is writing chapters for a potential book. I speak at meetings. I've probably had I've probably spoken to 40 meetings in the last 3 months. Um, and I tape something a couple of times a week that I put on social media, and I have, I don't know, 600,000 people on social media. So where I talk about just recovery. And for example, today I talked about how hard it is to go through detox. I mean, it is some scary stuff going through detox. But my point is once you go through that 10-day period, now the recovery can begin. But you got to go through that tunnel first. And for some, that tunnel is really scary. That was the case with me because I was such a heavy drinker. With others, it might not be that bad. But I try to just inform people about how I'm doing and take them back into the mind of an alcoholic and also to show straight people, or no, we call them normies, to show normies, normal people, um, what this is about and how it takes over and how it's so difficult to stop. I remember having a conversation with my dad once. We're talking about fentanyl, and he goes, "I don't know why they just don't stop." I'm like, "Dad, that's because that's addiction." And it's not, if everyone could just stop, there would be no addiction. But that's how his simple mind saw it. And I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying that he can't understand because he's not like me. And um, yeah. So that's what I try to do is just get the message out as much as I can,
Well,
but by talking about me.
right. And that is why I asked the question, because I have seen um I call them podcasts, although that's not really the right word. But here's the reason why I asked the question. It's
Okay.
more urging than asking, because you have to deal with what you deal with day by day.
Hmm.
Have 600,000 followers, which is 599,900 more than I do. Uh, but out of that, I'm sure you would help people. But now let me, when I paused, it was because I watch many of YouTube. I stopped watching the news because it just drove me crazy. But I do watch, those who they'll gripe about Trump, they'll gripe about MAGA, da 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 da. And I'm not a Trumper and I'm not MAGA. It's just more of a, that's why I'm waving my hands. Uh, but I do watch them, and I'm thinking, in your circumstance where you are struggling day by day, even if it's like 10 minutes. I mean, look at us. We spent a total of
Right.
maybe not even an hour and a half, and I learned so much. And honestly, it's not that hard. It's pretty much what we're doing right now. You're just
Yeah.
talking to the
Yeah.
camera.
At some point, I am gonna do that. But I've got so many different things that are pulling at me right now, including recovery. And so, for example, working out is so important to my recovery. It's just like a meeting. I have to work out every day. Playing hockey is so important to me. It's about finding out what I can be. And I know at some point things will calm down a little bit. Um, but but right now I'm spending a lot of time writing. I just don't have time. And but when I do, um, that is when I'm going to take kind of the things that I've been doing on Facebook, the 1 minute things, and turn it into something bigger. Because I want to get the message out. I don't hear people talk a lot about specific things that they did. Like for example, I have an incredibly fast car, but I wanted to teach myself patience. So I drove from San Francisco, or Oakland rather, to a place called Calistoga, which is about 75 miles, and I drove in the slow lane the whole way. And I never drive in the slow lane. When I'm on this freeway, I look at it as a racetrack. Where can I cut in and out? And I get a lot of people who do this. And so I wanted to teach myself patience. So I drove in the slow lane. I got passed by a Prius driver. That was not easy.
Oh
But,
man,
but I learned how to, I'm driving differently now. I
yeah.
had to teach myself that. And I think that's so important in recovery, is not just going to meetings, not just reading literature, but actually going out and doing stuff. That to me is the part that's so fun for me.
No, and I get it. And I'm just gonna put this in the back of your head. When you go in your room and you see that sign,
Okay, all right. I know where you're
yeah,
going.
yeah, I'm guilting you. No, because I had people, they couldn't wait for this
Ah,
because they're fascinated. And I'm fascinated. And when I watched your as you said, your 1 minute Facebook, dude, on YouTube, they have their shorts. They literally are that. And if you have 600,000 followers, 1% is 6,000 people. If you affected 6,000 people that maybe were on the fence, that maybe took inspiration from your trials and tribulations.
right.
That's why I'm not poo-pooing anything else, but dude, there are 168 hours in the week. And,
Okay, all right.
and although you're I know what day you're looking for, that eighth day of the week, Sunday. I know. I'm waiting for Sunday, damn it. That eighth day of the week. I'm gonna do it someday. But
All right, touche, touche, touche.
hey, my wife, she knows me. I'm snarky as all get out. But
I love that.
I am sincere. Now, we have 1 minute left, and I told you I'm not going to pay for this. Is there
Okay.
anything you'd like to say, do before I do
Oh,
my little bye?
great question. What I would say is just don't be, face your fears. Um, we all have a backpack, and everything that we don't deal with goes in our backpack, and it never comes out of our backpack until we deal with it. So don't be afraid to to make yourself uncomfortable. I was always afraid to do that, and I lost out on so much life. Take chances. Go out there. Be yourself. Trust yourself, and don't be afraid to ask for help. That's the main thing. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
And on that note, going back to YouTube and those 1 minute asking for help, Frank Somerville, thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you, man. And this has been a pleasure. I'm afraid it's going to cut me off in the middle of the sentence because Zoom is like that. So I want to thank you personally. You
thank you
have
very
my
much.
cell phone number, I believe. So hopefully we can chop it up. You
I'd
know,
love to. Yeah.
all right. If you're watching or listening to this, I want to thank you for observing and listening to the whole program. I urge you, not those who need help, but those who need to help, as Frank and I discussed about folks who are uncomfortable bringing things to your attention. I urge you to help, because addiction is not going to help itself. There are many places. I urge you to Google, to seek help, because we all need help. This has been Danny Easy D Dorman. 5 easy questions. Peace.
They used to call me Easy D, Easy D, Easy D.